Up, friends? Welcome back to Community TV, a place where nurses and aspiring nurses come to achieve academic, career, and life success. In this video, we're going to be talking about why nurses overspend, or why do they live above their means, okay? I wanted to make this video because I was watching this TikTok, and this lady was basically saying her coworker, who's a nurse, was crying because she didn't have enough overtime, and she lives in a high rise, and it's like 4K, and she goes to all these trips and everything, and she was crying because she didn't have enough overtime to, fund her lifestyle. And I wanted to talk about, why do nurses overspend? We all know that we're supposed to save, we're all know we're supposed to pay off debt, but why do we overspend? And no, this is not going to be one of these scolding videos. I really want to get to the root of why you do a behavior. What's the point of me scolding you if the behavior just stays the same? So I just wanted to explore why. Okay, so I want to first say that I've been a nurse since 2013. I was an LPN first for about 7-ish years, and then I became a registered nurse. Within the span of my career, I've been hit. I've had a remote control thrown at me. I've been attacked. I've been spit at. I've been kicked. A lot of things have happened within my nursing career. And, it's not just nurses, certified nursing assistants, techs. Anytime you do like bedside nursing, I would say that you're nursing is really a selfless, career. Okay. Even during COVID, yes, some people were very appreciative of the nurses. Like, for example, during COVID, I was an LPN to RN school, and I was working as an LPN in the nursing homes in New York City, which was the epicenter of the pandemic. There are some people like, well, you signed up for this, and some people were saying stuff like that. And I even watched, like, there was this one nurse, like, she was an influencer. That's why you got to be careful what you post online. She was posting like her lifestyle videos of, like, she was a travel nurse. She was talking about like all the different countries she got to travel to. And I read a comment, and then somebody was like, oh, now I see why our health insurance bills are so expensive. We know where all that money's going to. I'm like, first of all, if you understand anything about healthcare in America, like, that is so false. You need to do your research to see, where that money is actually going to. But we could go down that road, but I'm not going to go down that road because this is not a political channel, and nor do I want it to be one. But just do your research if you really want to know where your healthcare dollars are going to. So, long story short, I believe that stress is the number one reason why healthcare workers overspend. Okay, like I said, have there been times when I held my urine in my bladder for 12 hours? Yes. Nursing is a selfless career. And, also some people, when you're a nurse, like, sometimes you have some people who, kind of want to humble you. For whatever reason, like, they feel the need to humble you because they think that you think that you're all that because you're a nurse. And yes, I could understand that in nursing, like, you are in a leadership position. But in my opinion, as a nurse, if you're a leader, like, you have to make sure everybody's good. Like, I know that, when I was an LPN working in a nursing home, like, I would make sure before I go on break, I would make sure all my CNAs go on break, or all my CNAs have, like, time to go on break, because I know if they're not good, then, for example, if a patient falls or whatever on the hall because, they're stressed out, like, they have a lot on their plate, then that's my issue as a nurse. So I feel like being a leader actually is more of a selfless thing, because there's a saying that goes, I think it goes, heavy is the head that wears the crown, or something like that. And it's true, because, the higher you go, I feel like in life, like, the more responsibility, the more liability, like, it's a lot to be a leader. You have to put every single person before you. And I feel like as a nurse, it's like, especially bedside nursing, you're meeting people in a point of their lives where they're going through a lot, whatever setting, whether it's in the jails, especially if it's in the jails, like the correctional, whether it's in a clinic, whatever setting, you're meeting people when they're going through a lot. Like, they don't want to be in the hospital, they don't want to go to surgery. I've tried to make this video several times, so if I said that, I'm sorry, but I recently had a family member who had major surgery, and I got to see, like, it from the patient family side, it's very stressful, and but the nurses do a lot of the work. Like, they do a lot of the work, you know majority of the work, so it's really stressful. And especially like in American capitalistic society, like, we're always taught to like go 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 go, hustle 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 hustle. And not to sound prude, or like, with my nose in the air, but I say this with extreme humility. I thank God, like, I've had the privilege to travel outside the country multiple times, and I've noticed, mainly in Europe, they have a really, really good work-life balance. So, I mean, I don't know the healthcare system in Europe. So if you happen to go there, like, maybe comment down below, like, how is healthcare like there? But they have a good work-life balance. So the nurses are not, well, I don't know. You guys let me know. But I just feel like it's also like that hustle, hustle, hustle mentality in America, where it's like work, 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 like never have, time off. So I feel like that's one of the major reasons why nurses and healthcare professionals in general overspend. Is just a lot of stress. And a lot of people like to say, like, going to nursing, like, you'll always have a job. But nobody ever wonders, like, why do you think, like, you'll always have a job? Because it is extremely stressful. Bedside nursing is extremely stressful. Okay, that's the number one reason why people overspend. And a lot of nurses and healthcare workers are not taught, like, how to, like, different coping skills, how to deal with that stress that don't have to do with overspending. It's either they're overspending, or they're overeating, or over drinking, or doing something, some kind of vice. Because, like I said, as a nurse, you have to just take and take and take and take. It's like a bin where people, just throw, things into, and it's really stressful. And we're not taught how to cope with it. So we spend to feel better about ourselves. Like, okay, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this shoe or whatever because I deserve it. Or I'm going to go to Amazon because I deserve it. And it's like not really going to the root of the problem, which is the amount of stress that we are in as nurses, as certified nursing assistants. A lot of times, like, some people don't respect CNAs. Some people don't, help out the CNAs when they need help. Lifting those heavy patients. It is hard. So that is very stressful. Another reason why nurses or healthcare professionals overspend is because, let's be honest, most people who go into nursing, and in no way am I shading or whatever, because I'm first generation American. That means, I grew up learning 2 different languages. I've watched my family having to navigate the world, navigate a whole new world and a new language. So I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Everything I got, I had to work extremely hard for. Extremely hard. I want you guys to watch the show The Gilded Age. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Obviously, I'm in Texas now. But I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I always, admired the Upper East Side and how beautiful it was. But if you watch The Gilded Age, you'll understand the power of generations being in a country for an extended period of time. Okay? And in no way am I excusing that for bad financial decisions. Like, oh, poor me, I'm a first generation American, There's a lot of first generation Americans who make it and who make it big. So I feel like also it's a lot of people who go into nursing are not wealthy, and they don't come from a background where they're taught financial literacy. Like, I know I wasn't. They don't teach it in schools. So when we finally make a certain amount of money, it's like your first instinct is to spend it all. If you do your research, a lot of people who actually win the lottery, the first thing that they do is they spend it all. They don't know how to invest. Nobody teaches you how to invest, you know, or sometimes when you see like different advertisements for investing, you don't know if it is a scam. So there's no advisement. There's no, how can you say, there's no mentors, you know. You just go, you just spend. So I feel like that's another reason why a lot of nurses and healthcare professionals overspend, is just coming from a background of like having nothing or having very little to work with. Like, you know, like for example, like the first time I've been on an airplane, I was 15 years. The first time I've been on an airplane, I was 15 years old. And that was to Florida. I went to Florida. I didn't have the opportunity to travel internationally as a kid, you know? So a lot of things I gave myself is through the grace of God and hard work. Through the grace of God, hard work. But you also have to teach yourself, like, just because you work hard doesn't mean that you now deserve to go spend all that money that you worked hard for. The world doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way, you know? And another reason why healthcare is overspent is like thinking that you can do overtime forever. Guys, let me tell you something. This is one season I learned in life, is that when you have an opportunity to make money, don't think it's always going to be forever. You know, you never know tomorrow. Okay? For example, health. Health is one of the major things. Like I said, I have a family member who she had major surgery, and long story short, her whole lifestyle is completely changed. She cannot work like she used to. And, you know, it's very painful for me because this person is very independent, like always, you know, working. And it's extremely hard to watch her like that. So stop thinking, for example, like, oh, I'll do that overtime. I'll do that overtime. Like, no. You know? Do you know if you'll always be able to do that overtime? Not to scare y'all, but, you know. So nursing when I say easy money, I mean like it's fairly easy to find, you know, overtime and stuff like that, but it's when you're making the money, it's not easy. But because we have overtime and this and that, that's why nurses overspend. Because you could pick up an app like the Care app, for example, and like pick up a shift and go and work. But you mistakenly think that, oh, then that means I could overspend, when it's no. You know? So yeah, guys, I just want to make this video to start a conversation of why healthcare professionals overspend. I don't want this video to be too long. It's already 13 minutes. So, hi, how are you guys doing? I miss you guys. The reason why I haven't been posting is, you know, I've been going through a lot of things personally, and one of them is, I have a family member who has been going through a lot of health issues. I'm not really ready to talk about it right now, but it has been affecting me a lot, you know, because like I said, I'm a very empathetic person, and it's just something that was unexpected. It was something that was, so I'm just, you know, trying to get it together, but I still want to put out content for you guys. So guys, comment down below, why do you think most healthcare workers overspend? Do you agree with me? All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Love you.